friends, it is I, Trevor from Media Mementos, and boy do I have a story for you today. You ever wonder why I like Moral Orel so much? It's not just because it's good. It's because I lived it for 4 years. My high school was almost exactly like if you took Moralton, the town from Moral Orel, and the town from Footloose, and mashed them together. I'm not going to be exaggerating anything here, at least as best as I can. But I'm also not going to tell you the names of any of the people who went to the school, ran the school, or even the name itself, because let's face it, despite everything that happened here, I don't want anyone to get harassed or picked on or me to be held legally liable for anything. So yeah, welcome to the Tales of Moralton High. Today, I'm not going to tell you every single thing that happened. I'm going to be doing that over the course of this series. But this is more of an introduction, I guess you could say. An introduction to the madness. Also, 2 disclaimers. 1, I am not going to be making fun of religion at all because I myself am still a proud Christian and no one can ever convince me not to be. I'm not disagreeing with their beliefs. I'm disagreeing with the way they did everything and ran their school and hurt a lot of the people that went to said school. And also, this was not a place in the Bible Belt, like a lot of people believe. This was actually in a northern, very liberal, very secular state. Basically, everyone around the school was either far left, center left, or a Rockefeller Republican. And if you don't know what that means, look up people like Ross Perot, Larry Hogan, or, hey, the man himself, Nelson Rockefeller, and you'll see exactly what I mean. But for some reason, this school kind of became a hub for all the people that didn't fit in that bubble, let's just say. And from what I hear, it started off in like the 80s or so, and Moralton High was actually a pretty good place. It was just like a normal public school, but they taught about things like God, Bible, and all that kind of stuff, and great. But then as new staff came in and new people started running the school, things just kind of fell apart. And then that's where I come in. I actually went to the school from preschool all the way to graduation. And I saw a lot of bad signs pretty early on, even young me noticed. But then when I got into high school, things really seemed to change. And I'm not talking about this being the part where all the bad people started taking over or whatever. That actually happened quite a while ago. I'm talking about the way they treated us. Who out here has read Diary of a Wimpy Kid? I'm hoping someone's raising their hand, otherwise I'm going to look stupid. But there's a part in the first book where Greg Heffley says, middle school's the worst year in your life, you're being locked in here with a bunch of gorillas and everyone's unstable, that kind of stuff. Well, for some reason, the administration of Moralton High seemed to think that that was high school because they started treating us really differently. Starting in freshman year, on the first day of school, they'd always pass out this contract thing printed on this yellow paper, and you'd have to sign it basically saying, I'm going to follow all the school's rules, I promise. Except that's not really what it was for. Yeah, there were things on there that were rule-based, like the dress code, and that was a whole other can of worms. They had some reasonable things like no immodest clothing, no obscene logos or anything on your shirts. Fine. But then they also had things like guys can't have hair that goes below their ear, and guys can't have facial hair. I don't get that one, especially since not only did most of the men there have facial hair, as in the teachers, of course, but also all their biblical heroes like Jesus, Abraham, David, Isaac, I'm sure they all had beards. Don't see the issue. And also, you couldn't wear camo for some reason. I think that one got repealed later, but still, I don't get it. But then there were other things on there that were a lot more controlling, like don't be gay. I'm not making this up. Like I said, I'm trying my hardest not to exaggerate here. But I don't need to because they had things like that. Now, of course, I wouldn't have to worry about that myself, but there were a lot of people there that would. Just because you come from a Christian family does not mean you're going to end up straight. There was this one kid in particular, let's call him Grorn. Grorn was basically the real-life Jack McFarlane, and I mean no disrespect to him. First of all, I like Jack McFarlane, and 2, sweet guy. Really fun, supportive, outgoing guy. Awesome. but also because of the way he was and the way he carried himself, he didn't have the easiest time hiding his preferences, let's just say. And then one day in, I believe, junior year, he just stopped showing up to school and everyone pretended he didn't exist. But we remembered. We remembered. Turns out what happened is he got kicked out because he wouldn't change his evil ways. I'm not even going to touch that. I'm just going to let that sink in. So this is the kind of thing that they do. And you might wonder, why? Why did they do this? And furthermore, how did they get this idea in the first place? I can tell you exactly how that came to be. It's from this place called Bob Jones University. And if you've never heard of it, first of all, good. And second, it's this really conservative college in, I believe, South Carolina, where they do the same thing. At the first day of every school period, they give you this thing to sign where you have to sign it, say things like, I won't go see Harry Potter movies, I won't listen to obscene music, that kind of stuff. And from what I hear, Bob Jones was kind of their hero, and especially since they used a lot of the Bob Jones curriculums in their upper level classes. Though to their credit, I've heard that they've since distanced themselves, but you never know. You never know. So yeah, they wanted to be like Bob Jones. We all have our goals, I guess. And let me tell you, they would try to get you for anything. I'm skipping ahead a little bit here, but during my time in our local theater's production in Avenue Q, there was a girl there that asked me out. And she was a demonic heathen because she went to public school, and we can't have that. So, no joke, in order to actually go to, I think it was the prom that she asked me out to because we didn't have ours there. I'll touch that in a minute. I actually had to go to the principal and debate with him to let me do that. And he was trying to drill me for like finding my intentions, her intentions. He's like, this girl here, she goes to a different school, and, I'm willing to believe that she doesn't have the same kind of beliefs that we have, so you'd better be careful. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's true. Anyone who's not 100% religious is absolutely a sex-starved maniac. I mean, we all know this, right? We learned this in biology. I'm not serious. We didn't actually learn that in biology, yeah. And yeah, we didn't have proms. We didn't have, we had homecomings, but they were more of like a business conference. They weren't a dance or anything. And you were encouraged to not ask girls out, or hey, sometimes girls ask boys out. You were encouraged to go as friends. And you would book this giant table, and you just, again, business conference. It was a mess. And it was also mandatory for seniors to go, and I'll touch on that in another day. Though I have to say, as crazy as this place was, not everybody was bad. There were tons of teachers there that I actually really liked. I'd say it was about 40% of the staff was good, but since the 60% was the majority, they got to rule everything, and they ruined it for, let's be real, anyone who wasn't in the main circle. And as we go through this whole series of crazy things, you're going to kind of see a little bit more of just what went on here and how I became the person that I am today. And again, I'm not trying to actively attack anybody, but if there's anybody from Moralton High who sees these videos and is not happy that I'm talking about this, then you should have thought about that before you did all these things, right? Anyways, what do you guys think? And what do you think's coming up? Because next time we're going to be talking about things like the geology class, the bad administration and management, some of the good teachers too. And then later, I don't know how much later, we're probably going to have to save this one for a little bit down the road, we're going to be talking about the drama teacher, my arch nemesis, Mrs. Scattergat. And yes, I am sticking to this whole changing names thing, and I'm not budging. So stay tuned, folks. It's going to get even crazier.